Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ripple Project, a series where we share the stories behind our service. I'm Shraddha, your Eastern Canada District Governor,
And I'm DST Caesar.
and through these interviews, we're highlighting the moments, people, and experiences that inspire CKI members to make an impact. Every story creates a ripple, and I'm excited to share another one with you today. So let's get started. So today we have Jerritt.
Hi, yeah, my name is Jerritt Infanti. I am the vice president of the CKI Algoma at Algoma University in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm studying psychology and minoring in biology. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you today, Jerritt. So to start off with, how did you first get involved with CKI or community service?
So originally, I got into community service just because I love helping people. One thing that I find is like, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have, come from the family that I have and everything else. And so I feel like being able to give back is something that I don't know, I just feel is a gift that I can pass on to other people. But as to why I joined CKI, it's kind of a funny story because our club was originally something else. And we amalgamated into CKI because they reached out to us. And so we were already doing community service as part of our club. But when they reached out, we thought it was a perfect fit, our values all aligned, and now I'm here as the vice president of a CKI club, and it's been a pretty cool transition.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's that transition that you started from and now you're here. So I hope to see you move further in your positions.
Thank you.
All right, so for our next question, was there ever a moment or experience that made you realize that service was something you wanted to keep doing?
Um, so maybe not something that originally got me into service, but recently I started volunteering at it's called the Alzheimer's Society. So it's something that we do, or I don't know if it's all over, but it is something that we definitely have here locally. And just the relationships that I've been able to build with this population, I mean, it makes me feel like I'm on top of the world. I love the interactions. They're all so sweet. And it's this feeling that keeps me participating in everything that I can when it comes to service.
No, yeah, it's great to hear that, CKI really envelops like everything in your life, right? Brings service together even outside the club. So that's great to hear.
Okay, so moving on, what does service mean to you personally?
So, um, my end goal is to become a physician. So I've basically dedicated, well, I plan on dedicating the rest of my life to service to some degree. And so it means the world to me. I mean, it's extremely impactful and it means a lot to be able to not only like help yourself, but when you're in a position where you are helped to be able to pass that on. I think that if you truly want to see a change happen like in the world, it's important to be able to use your resources and touch as many hands as possible. And so for me, that is why I want to be a physician. That's why I got involved in service, and that's why I will kind of continue to do that. So
Yeah, that's really inspirational also because you've mentioned the Alzheimer's Society as well as CKI, and I'm sure you're involved outside of that as well. So it seems like you're creating the perfect story for the pathway to a physician. So that's amazing.
thank you.
All right, Jared. So for our next question, can you share one story that reminded you of why you serve or showed you the impact of what you can do?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I spent some time in the hospital, and while I was in there, I was bunked with another like younger individual who had just gotten like a kind of like a scary diagnosis, and he didn't really like engage very much with like anybody else, and so every day he would sit in like a windowsill. And so I'd go up and I'd sit with him, and we never really talked. We never really said like anything. I just kind of wanted to be there to be like company, basically. And then one day he finally asked me, like, why do you come and sit with me? And so we kind of like chatted up a little bit, and this is when I found out about his diagnosis and everything, and we kind of were able to create like a bond, um, and I loved it. So then a couple days later, one of the docs actually came up to me and told me that prior to this interaction, he had not talked to a doctor or any of the nurses, his family, in like 2 weeks. And so after his interaction with me, he started opening up to everybody and just finally was coming around to being himself again. And it, I mean, it changed the realization of the impact that just one person can have on another person's life. And I just, from there, I was hooked, and now I've dedicated pretty much the rest of my life to it.
No, yeah, that's really heartwarming to hear. I mean, you never really know like when that person's gonna come, right, or like who that person will be, right? So yeah, it's super important to, provide service to everybody.
Yeah, and also like the timing of that. Like if you weren't there at that specific time, then you wouldn't have had that interaction. So like that was like something that changed his life, but also changed your life. So it's like
What
everything happens.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I totally agree.
that's great to hear, and I'm glad that it's made you more like steadfast on your pathway and your career. So it's great. And for our last question today, which is something we'll be asking all the interviewees, is if your service would create a ripple that inspires change in someone else, what would be that ripple for you?
So I would say to remember that no matter what you do, you're going to impact the lives of others. And so be deliberate. Help and provide positive change. Because no matter what, like I said, you're gonna affect, you're gonna make a difference. And so if you do it deliberately, you do it with action rather than just kind of sitting back, you're gonna be able to impact the world more greatly.
Yes, that's honestly like the perfect way that we can end this interview. It's very, very concise but meaningful. But yeah, that's amazing to hear. Is there anything you wanted to add, Caesar?
Yeah, well, I think for me, for sure, right? Like, it's called the ripple effect, right? Where it sort of keeps going. So obviously, of course, like me, like with any impact, of course, I like other people to recognize like the power of impact, like Jarrett mentioned. So hopefully, like whoever I provide service to can one day also provide service to others, right? So sort of just
Yeah.
continuing that ripple effect.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's
absolutely.
in
Paying it forward.
yes, exactly. And there's always a source for it. Someone starts it, but someone actually gave that to you when you said in your story. So it just keeps going. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's amazing. Thank you so much, Jared, for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me.
And thank you to everyone for tuning in this episode of The Ripple Project. Every story reminds us of how powerful service can be and how one person's ripple can inspire so many others. So I hope you'll all join us for the next chapter in our series.
And until then, keep creating ripples.